What up, guys? This is Michael, I guess the founder of Second to None. We had a group of guys that used to get together and do this, but unfortunately, that didn't work out the way that we wanted it to work out. A few people are doing other things as well, but look, SEC basketball is here. This is the best year that it's been in a long time. So myself, being a Kentucky fan first, because I love Kentucky, that's my boys, but I'm a SEC fan through and through. So because of that, I just wanted to go live today. Haven't went live or haven't did a show for a Second to None in some time now, probably over a year and a half now. So I just wanted to get together, just put together the video. Today is a very intriguing schedule in the SEC basketball. You got you got the top echelon of the SEC going on the road this week with UK is on the road, Auburn is on the road, Alabama's on the road, Oklahoma's on the road, Florida's on the road, and Tennessee is on the road as well too. So we got some pretty intriguing matchups today that look pretty interesting. I was looking at the Tennessee and Texas game, and for a little bit, I thought that right there may be the game of the week. Now, the reason why I think Tennessee and Texas may be the game of the week is, or of the weekend, is because Tennessee coming off that bad loss to Florida, and then they got to go into another hostile environment down in Texas. Those guys, they just got beat in football last night as well too. So those guys, the basketball team is will want to do something special, and if you can bring in still currently the number one team in the nation, even though that's going to change Monday when the new rankings come out, and Auburn's probably going to take over that. Tennessee's going to come out and they're going to want to win this ball game just because they don't want to go down. They don't want to lose two straight in the SEC, considering how tough it is. So this Tennessee and Texas game is probably the number one game of the weekend, only because of that circumstance. If it wasn't for that, maybe I would probably put that as not the most important. Also, I didn't even realize that Alabama was going down to Texas A&M. That's going to be another hard game. Texas A&M is always tough on defense. Those guys are always going to be ready to play. It's going to be the crowd's going to be into it. Alabama's going to come in. You don't know which version of Alabama you're going to get. You got more experience leading the way for Alabama, but it's going to Nelson's playing as well too. So you're going to have to really look at that as a whole and wonder if Alabama can go down to College Station and get a win over Texas A&M, who is actually the 10th team in the nation. Alabama sitting number 5. Tennessee is still number 1, as I mentioned as well too. I think another big game too that's going to happen this weekend, and I think it's the Florida and Arkansas game. A lot of people got eyes on that ball game, not because of who Florida is, but because of the letdown that Arkansas has had this year with their new coach John Calipari, and with the team that they assemble, with the money that they have. It hasn't worked out the way that they wanted it to work out. So everyone's going to be looking to see if Arkansas at home can find a way to knock off Florida. Florida, according to the CBS report, is a 4.5 game favorite. Let me go back to this right here. Tennessee is a 5-point favorite against Texas, and Alabama is a 2.5 point favorite over Texas A&M. So these games are going to be really interesting. But once again, the Florida and Arkansas game is going to be very, very interesting because it's going to be a lot of Kentucky fans that's going to look to troll Arkansas if they lose again. That will make them 0-3 in the SEC. John Calipari has been 0-3 in the SEC since 2002, 2003 when he was at Memphis. So a lot of people, a lot of fans, I don't think Arkansas fans are throwing in the towel yet. I think they're being patient just because they had to come and throw a team together. But see, here's the difference between Arkansas throwing a team together. Arkansas got some guys that has played college basketball before. Not just basketball, but these guys have played at elite levels. So Arkansas not having the pieces together, but not being able to put it together is just another reason why people may want to say Coach Cal is one of those coaches that he will get the players through the door, but he won't get them to the promised land. Again, we know that he did at Kentucky in 2012, but it looks like that was it since then. So can Coach Cal coach his butt off today and allow those guys to get a victory when Florida comes into town. Beating Florida after they came off that big win against Tennessee would be a huge momentum swing for Arkansas. Give those guys the confidence that they need. Um, Even though I'm a Kentucky fan, I don't really follow Arkansas because I don't really care because Arkansas is not Kentucky. Because I get to Kentucky in a little bit, but people's gonna be watching to see, and not so much what Arkansas does, but how does Cal approach this ball game, and does Cal have these guys ready to play? It's a few guys who actually left Kentucky to actually go to Arkansas, and they're outside of Adu. He's the only guy, but besides Boogie Flan, who they had as a recruit, who they thought was going to be coming to Kentucky, but of course he flipped once Cal left and went to Arkansas. He followed Cal to Arkansas. So with that being said, people's going to be waiting and seeing what really happens in this ball game. And I think not from the standpoint of like being the biggest game of the weekend, but as far as kind of mentally or psychologically what's at stake here at Arkansas for the fans and maybe for the players. People's going to be watching that game and they're going to want to see, can Arkansas bounce back and get their first win in the SEC? That's for sure. Vandy and Missouri, that's a pretty interesting game too. Vandy coming in at 13-2, Missouri coming in at 12-3. Missouri's a 5.5 point favorite at that. Vandy really feel like that they have the players in place to do something this year. Win the SEC? No, but can they find a way to get into the tournament? The other day they was like number 10. They was gonna be like a number 10 seed in the tournament. I watched a video as well this morning, and it says that they could possibly be the first four out of March Madness. So them getting this win is very important. Missouri's going to be at home. We know that Missouri has a pretty good crowd. Missouri's been playing good ball considering how they played last year, and we're gonna see if Missouri can hold off Vandy and get another victory and see if they can go 13-3 and put Vandy at 13-3 as well for tied up records. Which means if that's the case and if it comes down to SEC tournament bidding, we know that Missouri would win that, or the winner of this game, of course, will win the toss if it comes down to that. If it's that close. Next you got Kentucky and you got Mississippi State. At Mississippi State, this game scares me because as we know as Cats fans and Big Blue Nation, we don't know which version sometimes Kentucky's going to show up. Now, when we lost to Clemson, we came back and won the next game. When we lost to Ohio State, we came back and won the next game. We just lost to Georgia. Will we continue that route of losing and then coming back and winning the next ball game? Going out of Mississippi State has always been tough. We haven't lost in Mississippi State, I think, just 2020, 2011, something like that. But this game scares me because I don't know what our bigs are going to do. I don't know how strong they're going to be. We know one thing about it: our bigs are not the best at the post up game. So we're gonna, and Mississippi State is gonna bring it today. They're gonna bring it. They're gonna bring it. They're gonna bring it. So let's just see what happens overall. But as a Kentucky fan, I'm confident that we have the players to go down there and get a W and get out of there. But I don't know which version of Kentucky is going to show up. So Mississippi State is the favorite right now by 5.5, and that's a 7:30 tip off. Actually, right now speaking, in a few minutes we'll talk about next, which is the Auburn and South Carolina game. That game is that game's going to be in South Carolina as well. Right now, everybody's looking at South Carolina as probably being the worst team in the SEC, but they're going to be home. And when you're at home and you get the crowd behind you sometimes, and you just get motivated, sometimes you can just shoot better than you've been shooting all day. Now, Auburn is probably as long as Auburn takes care of business today, Auburn will be the number one team in the nation, no doubt. Auburn's been right there, right up under Tennessee, and since Tennessee stumbled, Auburn's basically has just pretty much wrote their name on the line for being the best team in the nation. And if they keep winning like they do, then they should actually end up being the number one seed in the NCAA tournament. But it's still a long year to go. It's still a lot of games to be played. So we're going to see if Auburn will, if they will collapse or if they will continue to dominate the way they've been doing all year. They have definitely won some tough games all year. So I don't see them going to South Carolina having a letdown and letting those guys beat them. Next, we got Ole Miss with LSU coming in. LSU is 11-4. Ole Miss is 13-2. Mississippi Ole Miss is a 10-point favorite over LSU. You know, hold on. Oh, because Ole Miss just knocked off Arkansas at Arkansas, and that was a really disappointing game for those guys. So for Arkansas, so Ole Miss is coming off a really good. They're coming off a really good road win. So these guys are going to be back home, and LSU outside of maybe South Carolina, those guys they're not very good. And while they can get hot, they don't close out games very well. So for me, I hope that I want to see this game be a really close game. It tips off at 5 o'clock. Ole Miss once again is a 10-point favorite, and I think Mississippi State at home, Ole Miss at home will find a way to get that win. Let's talk about lastly. Let's see. Lastly, we'll talk about the Oklahoma and the Georgia game. If Georgia has the same officiating crew that they had against Kentucky, they win that ball game. If not, I think Oklahoma comes in at 13-2, but Georgia's 13-2 as well too. Which Georgia's actually a 7.5 point favorite. Wow, I didn't even realize. I didn't even see that. Yeah, Georgia's actually favored to win that ball game. So that would be another good win if Georgia can get two quad one wins in 1 week over Kentucky and Oklahoma. I think that's going to be I think that's going to be a good game changer for those guys as well too. Oklahoma has been playing good ball all year, so I think they're coming off a loss too as well. So if they come to Georgia, if they get a fair game in officiating, and I think these guys, I don't think Georgia has enough that they can actually beat those guys, because I think Oklahoma will actually have an inside presence that will help combat Cyril Sato. I think they have somebody for him as well too. But I think overall it's going to be good. The standings right now is you got Auburn, Mississippi State, Alabama, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Florida, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Georgia, and Kentucky, Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, LSU, Arkansas, and South Carolina. That is the standings up until this point. So SEC basketball is the best that it's ever been. Let's see if each other will go out this weekend and beat up on each other and just make each other ready and prepared for March Madness that's coming up. So thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. This has been Second to None with your host, Big Mike. I appreciate it. Until next time, go SEC.